I don't know where to even begin with this.
I love you. That's the only truth I know.
Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've already seen my first video. If you haven't seen my first video yet, I will leave it linked below. So this video, I just kind of want to introduce myself and tell a little bit of my story, just because I've had a lot of people ask, and I'm just gonna get straight to it. Sit down. Sit down, bud. Sit down. Good boy. I love me. I'm the sweetest boy. I'm gonna take these out also during this video, so please excuse me. So basically, I live in a small town in Virginia. I was born in Sierra Vista, Arizona. I moved here when I was like 5. So I've pretty much been here my entire life. There's very few memories that I can recall from Arizona. I have the best parents. I have had a pretty great childhood. Fast forward to when I'm 18. My mom was a nurse practitioner. The reason I mention that is because it was a couple months after I graduated, I started getting really sick. And this is kind of when this whole journey with my health started. And my gallbladder randomly failed. So my mom was like my biggest advocate throughout all of that, when so many people are like, it's all in your head, it's IBS, blah blah blah. She pushed so hard to make sure, like, get every test possible to prove like something was wrong with me, and lo and behold, my gallbladder was failing. I was already extremely close with my mom, and those few months, it just made us even closer. My goal is to not cry in this video. It was like at my follow-up appointment after my first surgery. It was her birthday, and we were sitting there talking, and I just said, like, you're gonna live until you're 100 years old. And she just laughed and said, I wish. She had a heart condition, but she handled it like a boss. She had lupus, she handled it like a boss. Like, she had some pretty serious things going on, but despite all of those things, I knew my mom was healthy. Those weren't even the reasons that she's not here today. You know, I was like, you're gonna live for a long time. You're gonna live a long life. And fast forward, ooh, I'm not gonna cry. Fast forward to November 15th, 2012. I'm not going to go into detail about this story because I can't do that. Like, I can't. After 5 years, I was finally able to write about it, so I will leave that story linked below if you want to read more. I had been going through a lot during that entire time. I was kind of depressed. I was really depressed. I was in bed, and she had just gotten home from work around like 6 o'clock. So she came home and she was doing her charts, but she was trying to get me out of bed. The last time I talked to my mom, she was in bed with me, scratching my back. We still to this day don't know exactly what happened. My boyfriend at the time came upstairs and mentioned that she was acting a little strange, but you know, I didn't think anything of it. And we're upstairs and she's downstairs. Then I just heard a big crash. I yelled out for my mom, and I didn't hear anything back. I didn't hear her. I immediately panicked. I had a horrible feeling, and I ran to go downstairs, and then once I got to the top of the steps, I saw my mom at the bottom of the steps. I ran down to the bottom of the steps. I mean, I was screaming in that moment. She wasn't responding. There was like a pool of blood quickly forming. There's blood coming everywhere. There's glass everywhere from a drink that she was holding. Her cell phone was like thrown across the room. And she was breathing, but it was the weirdest breathing that I've ever heard. And immediately we were calling 911. For whatever reason, my phone wouldn't go through. I don't know if that was like in sheer panic. I don't know, but it wasn't going through. And then I went to go grab my house phone, and that definitely wasn't going through. Do not get Magic Jack. You have to have some program to allow you to call 911. I could not call 911 because we didn't have that program, because we did not know. Luckily his phone gets through to 911 and I'm like screaming at the girl. My dad's not at the house. He was a karate instructor. He was at the studio and I called the studio in a sheer panic. It went to some guy's phone that works at the studio, not the actual studio. I'm really sorry to the guy that I called screaming at, but finally I got a hold of my dad. Ambulance and my dad arrived at the same time. A cop got there first, and immediately she starts asking me all these questions, like if my mom's on blood thinners and all of this stuff, and I'm just panicking, and she's telling me to calm down. I had to take a break from recording real quick. One, my camera. Two, just a little too much. Welcome to my life. You have to be the start of every video, huh? Yep. He just farted. So I think where I left off was there was EMTs, there's firefighters, there's cops, there's people everywhere. So fast forward, my mom is being flown to UVA. We got to UVA and told them who we were, and immediately we had someone come out and take us into our room. This room was like, the only way I can put it is like sterile and cold. Just every vibe it was giving me just was not good. On every corner there was a tissue box, and it was me and my dad, and honestly at that moment I can't tell you who was in that room. I just know there was a couple other people. A doctor came in. The look on his face said enough, and he was just like, "I'm really sorry, but there's nothing that we can do for your mom." Basically, she did a head dive into the floor. What caused that, we don't know. I believe that there was like an aneurysm or a stroke behind it, just because she would have tried to catch herself if she was conscious. We couldn't determine that just because the brain damage was so severe. I like immediately went into like a fit of panic and started interrogating him and pulling out all my Grey's Anatomy knowledge. That's knowledge. And I'm like asking him all these questions. I asked them if they could drill a hole in her head to relieve pressure. I don't know where I read that and heard that, but it was so severe that doing that would only make it worse. And then I asked some really, really dumb questions. Like, I'm not going to even go in depth about this because I really don't want to continue to talk about it if I'm being completely honest with you. That's why I'm like, just go read it down below. They took us to her room, and I just basically ran back and forth, hysterically crying and screaming. I couldn't bear to be in there, but I couldn't bear to not be there. They told us that we had a couple hours to decide if we wanted to make her an organ donor or if not. They said pretty much we could keep her on life support, but there's no hope. Like, she would eventually quit breathing. Like, it just, no. My mom would never want to live a life like that. My mom was all about taking care of people, and the last thing that she would want is to have people take care of her like that. And she wanted to save people. She wanted to be an organ donor. We wanted to fulfill her wishes, but in order to do that, we had to make that decision within a couple hours. Once they're, I guess, brain dead, their organs are only good but for so long. So we had to kind of make a quick decision in order for them to get the organs in a condition to where they can be good candidates for transplant. Everything was really a blur. Like, unless I really sit down and dive into that night, like, which I am not willing to do all the time. Like, when I wrote about the accident, it took me almost a year to write about the entire thing, just because it's like purging all of my emotions, purging all of these like bad memories. I mean, yeah, it's good for me in a way, but it's not something I do just all the time. So I pretty much just left after we made those decisions. I said my goodbyes as best as you can, and I left. That's really all I'm gonna say about it, because I really don't want to continue to talk about this. I'm sorry. It's a lot harder than I thought. That's all I have to say. Like, recording, talking about it. and controlling like my emotions. It's not easy. God. So you think that would be enough? Fast forward to December 31st of 2012. It is New Year's Eve. I was on Facebook, and this was at a time when Facebook had this thing where you would have like your inbox, but then you would have like an other. I clicked on it. There's this one. Ooh, I don't know. I didn't even think about this until now. Do I want to read this message? Like the first message I got. I decided I was going to read this message because I can't tell everything accurately without reading this. Like, I'm trying to respect her privacy. I don't know how she's going to feel about me even reading this. I'm sorry, but again, like, it's part of the story. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not going to show any pictures of her or anything like that. Hi, Dom. Thank you. So, this is what the first message says. Hi, Jessica. I don't know if you know who I am or anything about me. If not, I can answer all the questions. Or if you feel more comfortable, you can talk to your dad. I'm very sorry to hear about the loss of your mother. She was a very wonderful woman, and I know that for sure. My heart breaks for you. When you turned 18, I sent you a friend request, but I understand you probably have no idea who I am. I'm scared of upsetting or hurting you in any way. If you don't already know, please look at pictures of you and pictures of me. You can ask me any question or ask your dad. So I read the message. I don't really know what to make of it. Going down 64. I asked my dad, do you know who this is? And at the time, her middle name was like her last name on Facebook, so he wouldn't have recognized it anyways. So he was like, I don't know. And I kept asking him over and over and over. And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, let me redo this message. So, like, honestly, I thought like this was like a girlfriend or something like that. I don't know. So I read the message. I'm not really looking at him. And as soon as I get done, I don't hear anything. And I look over. His face is just white. And I'm like, who is she? Who is she? He wouldn't answer me. I asked him 3 times, like, who is she? And finally, I'm like, who is she? In the weirdest way, he's just like, she's your mom. What? Like, my brain is like trying to go over what he had just said because I had literally just lost my mom like a month ago. So hyperventilating at this point. That's another moment in my life that's kind of like a blur. He pulls over, I'm like out of the car, having a meltdown, calling whoever I can think of to call and talk to about this. Get back in the car and I start asking questions. When I say my mom, it's my mom who's raised me. Whenever I talk about my birth mom, I solely say my birth mom. I'm gonna clear that up real quick. She had me at a very young age. When she first got pregnant, she had another family picked out and everything. Some things happened and that did not work out. She met my mom just like months before she delivered me. They didn't really know who she was gonna pick. On her way to the hospital while she's in labor, she decides, like, she calls my parents and she's like, I want you to be the parents. I'm in labor. Can you please come to the hospital? I get to the hospital. My parents were like the first ones to hold me. They were the ones to name me. My birth father, that is still a big question mark. So, if you're my birth dad and you're watching this, holla at your girl, because I got some questions. But really, I have a lot of questions. And especially like with being sick, it's just, it would really help to have this information, so. But what can you do? What can you do, dummy? So I found all of this out a month after everything happened with my mom. From September till December 31st. It was absolutely insane. I get a lot of questions like if I'm like angry towards my parents for not telling me. The simple way to put it is everything happens for a reason. I found out what I did for a reason. It happened and I've got to accept it. There was never a part of me that was like angry towards my parents for not telling me all these years. I mean, I did ask my dad, of course, but the simple way for him to put it was, him and my mom wanted to wait for the right time to tell me, and then he realized after mom passed away that there was never going to be a right time. It's kind of funny now looking back, because when I was probably like 4, my cousin, she's passed away, so I can't really talk to her about this now, but she told me that I was adopted. It was one of those things we were fighting. She's like, that's why you're adopted. That's what a lot of siblings kind of say, just to like get at one another. Apparently, like when I was 2 and knew about it, like I acknowledged it and I talked about it, and then I forgot. Now that I look back on my life, it's like I had this feeling that I don't know, this feeling, and I couldn't describe it, and I still can't really, but once I found out that I was adopted, that feeling made sense. I don't know. It just, a lot of things made sense. Another question I get is how I didn't question things growing up, like how I didn't realize that I was adopted until I was told at 18. It's because I looked like my mom. People to this day who know that I was adopted think that I look like my mom more than my birth mom. I personally think I look like my birth mom more. Like, it's freaky, but I never questioned it because I looked like my mom. Another thing to note is I have not met my birth mom yet. Don't know when that will ever happen. So that's pretty much it. That's really all I can think of right now to talk about. If anyone has questions, y'all are more than welcome to ask away. I really don't mind. You can ask questions down in the comment section. I have my social medias linked in my description, so you can message me on there. Pretty open about all of this. Or if you want me to make another video, I can do that. Kind of have to talk to my birth mom. Just, again, to respect her privacy. If you like this video, please like it below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can see my upcoming videos. I really appreciate all the love and support I got in my last video. I really didn't expect much from it. I was surprised by how much love I got. So again, thank you.